Okay, hello everybody. I'm starting up my new video for the week, and I just finished reconstructing from the skeleton of my old sort of hoop house or hot hut sort of thing for my giant pumpkins. This time I'm keeping the main roof off that I had before, because it was just getting too hot in there. So instead I'm just going to put shade over the top. The main use for the plastic now is just for a wind barrier. I left this side open just for a little bit easier access. I'll use something to block it off. I don't know what it is right now. Maybe a plank of wood or something. Maybe a plywood board or something like that. But this is the first one. I'm going to put two plants next to each other, one over right there and then the other over on this side, just until over in the garden, just until my dad and I can get that main pumpkin shelter up in the garden over there. And then after that's fully up and wind protection set and everything, I'll take this off. It's not gonna get that cold at night anymore. If it gets too cold, all I'll need to do is just set up a heat lamp, in the middle, not facing the plants, and then just put some plastic, maybe a tarp over the top, and that should keep them warm enough. Anyway, that's it for now. Okay, everybody, here's just a quick update on my giant pumpkin plants. They're all doing pretty well. I actually had a big scare this morning because after I took them outside and put them in the pots, I don't know what it was. It was pretty cold. It was 59 degrees and it was breezy. I don't know what it was, but the leaves all started getting all crusty and curling in, or something like that. I don't really know what that was, but I took them inside, got them warm, sprayed them with some seaweed solution spray to help them heal from whatever it was. And all the plants seem fine now. They don't seem to have any permanent damage, which makes me happy. In fact, they're doing outstanding compared to past plants that I've had, except for that one and this one, which, well, they're not terrible, they're not great. So those ones aren't going in the patch. They're going to be the backup plants. So I was actually thinking I was going to give them to some friends and let them grow them. So, we'll see. I really like that little one back there. It's doing great. It has a huge first true leaf. And it was actually from that seed came from the same pumpkin as that one back there. And I like these two because they are the least leggy. They're stockier plants, which makes me happy. Unlike this Casper's and the Morse. Well, anyway, that's it for now. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like after I'm done tilling. That's just basically the center of where I would like my plants to be. I am going to double plant though, so I'm going to put one there and then one kind of there. So I've mixed in some alfalfa, leftovers that the animals didn't want to eat, and a little bit of goat manure, just a little bit for some fertilizer. And then I've got the hot hut with the roof off over there, and I'll get to planting. Okay, right now I'm going to get the planting holes ready for my giant pumpkins. I'll try to talk loudly so you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I'll just, please forgive me. I don't have a microphone, so I'm just gonna try and yell to be heard. So I'm digging both planting holes for the plants I'm putting in right now to start off. And getting it ready. I've already got the soil heating cables in, as you saw in the time lapse probably. Okay, so both the plants I have here today are 1643 new plants. They are both in pretty desperate need of transplantation. They've been in their pots for just a bit too long. I'm just testing the hole size. Whoops, that's the wrong way around. It's gonna go this way, but yeah, it's gonna fit pretty good. And I'll put this one in first. I'm gonna make sure to put the title aside, because I don't want to mix up my plants. I want to keep the genetics pure. This plant has been in here for probably a week or two too long, so it's probably a bit root bound. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get the pot, give it a little squeeze all the way around, just try to loosen the fit around the root ball, and then I'm gonna get it like this. And yeah, see, it was pretty root bound, which isn't a good thing. So I'm glad I'm getting it in the ground now. So when I want the plant to grow that way, which means I need to put the first true leaf, which is this, facing this way, because the plant will always grow opposite the first true leaf. So I'm just gonna ever so gently lay it in there, and then around the front I'm gonna put in some dirt to stabilize it, also on the bottom. And then, just to help it off to a good start, I've got some mycorrhizae. I'm just gonna sprinkle around the roots, making sure to get some direct root contact. And then I'm gonna get some azospirillum, beneficial bacteria. And I'm gonna use a little bit less of this, and I'm gonna just sprinkle that around the roots as well. So what these do is they just, the azos is a nitrogen fixing bacteria, and the mycorrhizae just basically, it just brings nutrients to the plants when they need it. Both of those things are great to add to your soil. So I've noticed a difference in using them versus not using them. So I'm just gonna brush it off onto there as best I can. So just make sure if you ever want to grow giant pumpkins, I highly recommend azos and micros. So I'm just gonna water in around the base. Just again making sure I get some water down there. And then I'm gonna get some Wallace Wow Super Starter Packs, which I failed to put in when I was planting the other plants. Unfortunately, but I'm adding them to these plants. So this is what they look like. I'm gonna probably put 2 per plant, just around the base like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just backfill. Oops. Gently, like this, so just as to not damage the roots, I want to make sure, emphasis on gently. And you notice how I kind of leaned the pot this way a bit? That was just to help it lay down easier. Yeah, just make sure to be really gentle when you're doing this. That's pretty much one of the most important parts. And just lightly press around to make sure you expel any air pockets. And now I'm going to get to planting the other one. And then, a good trick, especially when it's really hot, is to make a moat around the plant to kind of trap that water, so make sure it gets down nicely to the roots. I'm gonna do this around both plants. I mean, obviously, why wouldn't I? And it's just gonna, like I said, it's just gonna trap the water in to make sure that they don't get too thirsty. And I'm also being really gentle, like I said earlier. It's nice because it's kind of overcast right now, so it's not super hot outside. And then pretty much the final step is to water them in really well. Now I'm going to empty this entire 2-gallon watering can into here. Just going to really soak them. And if you're wondering what that white thing is sticking up, that was just my marker for where to put the plants. Water's escaping at the moment. So yeah, it's pretty good. And then one more thing I forgot to mention, put the label back. Since these are both the same plant, I'm just going to use one label. I mean, they're not the same plant, but they're They came from the seed from the same pumpkin, so that's what I meant, if you were wondering. Now I'm going to get the cold frame over the top, and we should be good. Okay, real quick before I close the video, now that I've got these plants in with the cold frame around, I'll just put the lid on after I'm done. I don't need to record that, but anyway, both plants look really healthy. These are the 1643 News, the ones I just put in. Fingers crossed they do well. So yeah, one thing before I move on to the other plants I want to mention is that one there I really like. Even though it's a week younger than that one, it's almost the same size. That leaf there is the first true leaf, and it's twice the size of that one's first true leaf. So I like that very much. So even though that one's further developed, but we'll see. Whichever one does better, grows faster, pleases me more, is the one I'll keep. But for now, we'll just keep on trucking. Okay, so here are the other plants. I spray painted the sides of this hoop house. I haven't done that to that one yet, but I will. And then I put some crappy, junky, I should say, shade over the top for now to keep them out of the heat during the day. And here they are. They're a little dusty, and I put them in kind of cockeye. But they've been in the ground for 2 days now. Today's Monday. They went in on Saturday, and they are both looking decent. As to be expected, they slowed down a little bit after being put in the ground. This one over here is the 2350 Morse. It's looking pretty good. And then this one over here is a 1477 Caspers. So yeah, I hope they both do great. I got a heat lamp in there for heat, and so it'll keep heating cables just like the other hoop house. But yeah, anyways, now that you've seen the plants and how well they're doing, hope that satisfies you for an update, and I'll catch you next time.